My name is Amity and what we need to do about data visualization in air quality monitoring to make it more relevant to an average Joe, which is a layman, which is just about any one of us here in the room. Now this specific platform, we have been constantly working at it to make it better, to make it a real plug-and-play kind of a module for all the stakeholders, for the authorities, which are the pollution control boards, for the suppliers who manufacture and supply and install such instruments, and also for people who are the environment heads in various polluting industries which are required to submit their data to the authorities. Well, what I'm going to talk to you about is not my application, but something different. I will speak to you about, I will in fact seek your permission to share a personal story with you, with the hope that after listening to my personal story, some of my thoughts will become personal to you as well. Now the story goes like this. I was blessed with a baby boy in 2012. Now my boy, as soon as he got 1 year old, he started to develop major respiratory issues. These issues were like these. He started developing constant wheezing. He started getting tired very easily. He had a constant cough, just would not go, which was a major, issue for us. He had a constant blood, either a blocked nose or a running nose. His immunity was an all-time low. He was constantly getting infections and he was constantly unwell. And as parents would feel, we got majorly worried. We took him to the doctor. And here is what the doctor had to say about it. He diagnosed him with what is called as the reactive airway disease. Now, when I tried to look this term up on Google, I found out that this specific disease has been categorized as occupational asthma by scientists. And this is what my little child has got. And the doctor told me that this reactive airway disease is a result of exposure to dust. And in his own words, he said that, so my doctor is a pediatrician, sits out of Noida, just where we are. And he tells me that 80% of all kids who come and see him, they have this issue. And this is, to my mind, only because of we are staying in a place which is so prone to dust and other pollutants. Now, for people who do not know what the wonderful world of inhalers is, I got introduced to this word. Inhalers are no magic workers. This is what we had to put our child on. Inhalers, what they really do is, these are really steroids, if I can call them that. They suppress the ability of the body to produce how they would otherwise naturally react to an allergen. So what a steroid or an inhaler would do is it would suppress the body's capability to do that. And the doctor told us that we need to put a child on inhalers 3 times a day for the next 5-6 years for him to not get affected and for him to have a good quality of life. Now, I felt, how you are pretty much feeling right now. I felt very dejected. I felt very demoralized with what had happened. And I felt that, I have already put my boy to a disadvantage to somebody who's of the same age. And maybe he's born in a much cleaner environment, maybe Himachal Pradesh or anywhere else. So just because, I've chosen to raise a family here in Delhi, I have put my child to a disadvantage. Now I got thinking and I thought, okay, this is the price that I have to pay for staying in Delhi. But then I questioned myself. I said, when did I know that I'm signing up for this? Where could I have gone to know that this is what was in store for me? So I began my little exploration or a research. I wanted to find out that if somebody who was in the same position that I was in 5 years back when I was raising a family, if today that person, an average Joe, who is not a scientist, who is not a research-friendly person, how would he know that raising a family in Delhi NCR, what it means in the longer term? So I decided to wear his hat and go on a little bit of a search to see that where have we made our ecosystem friendly for an average Joe to figure out what is happening and what is going to happen in the future and what he can do about it. Now, friends, I want to tell you this. An average Joe is an avatar that I try to think of. He's pretty much the person who sits with you next to you when you are on a metro ride. He's not a scientist. He's not highly educated. Like I said, he has no interest in research. He has been spoiled by our consumerist ecosystem. So which basically means that he has been made used to things that have been made so easy for him to interact with. So if he wants to buy a movie ticket, he goes to Book My Show. He searches for the movie which has the highest reviews. He selects the movie that he wants to review. He selects the seats before he makes a payment. So he's a person like that. If he is traveling, he goes to makemytrip.com. He looks at all the fares from all the airlines. He looks at the best deal before he makes up his mind on where to go and how to go about it. So a person like that, which is pretty much each one of us, but an average Joe who's not from the environment background, if he goes on a search to find out that what is in store for him, how would he do? What information is available for him? So I tried to wear his hat and I started my search. So I started just where everyone would start anything, which is here. And as soon as I got onto Google, I typed on it air quality and its impact in Delhi. And this is what I got. I got the first link, which was from BPCC. I saw that the real-time data was being shown. I could see all the pollutants. I don't know if people at the back can see this, but all the pollutants are mentioned on the first column. It talks about the date and the time when their values were captured. Talks about the concentrations which were captured for these pollutants, and you could see more of that. This information really made no sense to me because I'm not from the environment background and I do not really understand what each of these pollutants mean and what their impact is. So I went forward, I clicked at some more links, and I came to what is considered today the gold standard of data reporting and air quality monitoring is aqicn.org. And very interestingly, when I tried to look at this website for the 100th time like a layman, I intuitively felt that the graph on the right hand side that you would see is an interactive graph, and it shows you all the values that have been captured at all stations that are measuring values, of course. And it somehow I felt that only these are the points where maximum pollution is happening. That's why they are capturing the pollution data there. Rest everywhere, everything is fine. I looked at the left hand side, I looked at all the pollutants, and I looked at the this wonderful pretty graph that it shows, which shows the distribution throughout the day. I was fairly intrigued by the value of 427 that I saw, and I wanted to know, and it also said hazardous next to it. So I wanted to find out what that meant. So I did a little bit of research on the same page, and this is what I got, which is the medical advisory on what the air quality index is and what it may mean. When I tried to read through it, I felt that it was more a referendum of do's and don'ts, and basically meant that if somebody has asthma or somebody is old, they should pretty much stay at home. It didn't really empower me in any way to make a decision if I had to with this information. I went forward, I went deep linking into some sites. I found this another site where some data was shown in fancy little ways, displayed very well with a lot of colors. I also looked at the URL and I figured out it's an IP address, so the government or whosoever has put this up does not really want me to find it through Google, so I should not be looking at it anyway. So I moved forward, I went to the biggest authority, Central Pollution Control Board's website, and that's where I found this information, which is all the pollutants listed out and their concentrations. So I moved on to my research, and quickly I started to feel very lost in my research because I made an attempt. I wanted to find out what is it that I'm putting my family through, and what I got did not make sense to me. Now, at this point, as a business consultant, I thought to myself that we have very successfully in the environment industry have tuned out the most important stakeholder in the equation, which is the common man, by the means of how we represent what we know. So these are some of the thoughts that I thought I'd share with you. Now here is, if I had to condense what I learned through my own exercise and how I felt, this is what it is. The objective of all data collection is to make the data collection exercise output intelligence that a common man can use. This, for me, if we are not able to fulfill this equation, then anything that we are doing is just for our academic fulfillment, really of no service with society. Now, I have taken it upon myself to build a system that can provide this information to all. It is not an easy task. I'm looking for collaboration because it's not a one-man's job. It requires interdisciplinary collaboration. Here we need environment scientists who can help approximate the dispersal of pollutants in an area with only few data points that are available today. We need scientists who can find cheaper ways to measure pollutants. The current analyzers and the equipments are extremely costly for us to go hypergrid way and capture to have data points in every small little locality. We need to have instrument manufacturers who can build such sensors which are low cost. We need data scientists who can do pollution forecasting hourly based on the little data points that we have. We need doctors who have experience of research in health driven by pollution. And we need concerned citizens who can suggest more ways of how we can use the data. This is my email ID, friends. If any of you feel how I have felt in this little exercise and want to collaborate with me, please feel free to drop me a line. I will get in touch with you, and a lot of people already have gotten in touch with us, and we are trying to brainstorm and see what is it that we can do to plug these two gaps that we have. First gap being, how do we calculate dispersal of pollutants given only 30 data points across Delhi? And second, how do we maybe forecast pollution on an hourly basis the dispersal model that we have created. Now I'll share with you a new prototype of the system that I'm currently working on with my team, and just to show you how we can take the data visualization effort to the next level. Okay friends, some technical glitch, I can't seem to get that running on this projector. So this is my vision of how we should be presenting data to Delhi, not as individual data points, but more like a heat map for every pollutant, which has in it the information and intelligence of dispersal modeling, basis n number of data points that we are able to get information from. I should be able to get the forecast of next 24 hours to see what are the best times for me to go out in a quick dashboard style. And I should also get a sense of what is the trending worst and best time that is currently happening for me in this week. And if I want to do the rest of the things that we talked about, that calculate exposure, if I have lived in a certain place for the last 5 years, be able to calculate that all from a dashboard style, making it just like maybe Make My Trip for environment, making it easier for a common man. We should help people make informed decisions, and that's my quest, that we should deal with the data in a way that we finally are able to give people information so they can choose what they want to do with their lives. Thank you.